Hey there, comic people. Tim TK here with That's a Run Show on Tuesday. Joined as always by Aaron Humphreys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hello.
And Jose Fuentes.
I just want to put it out there that it says on the intro, sometimes Aaron Humphreys.
Yeah.
He's become more consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I become a little more consistent. It's just because it's Jose. I mean, I can't help but not come see the king.
I know.
That's
right.
I just put the. I feel like no one has ever made every show, so I feel like the as always for whatever guest or was there. Just
and sometimes invaded by Aaron Humphreys. Yeah.
Right. I also just noticed on the our intro pictures and whatnot, the last one for Mackenzie has her and a picture of Hayden next to her.
Yeah.
You didn't notice that? I see that all the time, like her and Hayden.
I don't know why. I just never caught that one. I just happened to look up and I'm like, oh.
I just assume she has a cardboard standee of Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're the show that's 95% inside jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's not stalking him, technically.
Not legally, at least, yeah.
Legally, yeah.
Not by the legal definition, yeah.
Yeah, not yet. But apparently she likes him or something. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, well, we are talking about comic book tie-ins today. So, I guess basic definition, that's whenever a... one form of media, be it a game, movie, show, or whatever, used as a comic book either as promotion or as a continuation of the story or expanded story in some way, just something to tie in more elements of the story. So we'll get into the different ways that looks like. Two of the most recent examples that really kind of popped off and were actually pretty well reviewed were Fortnite and Cyberpunk 2077. I actually read this.
Dark Horse did Cyberpunk, didn't they?
It did, and it's actually pretty good. Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh.
We have a boss man.
The captain.
Yes.
That's why we all need to salute. Sir, you're here. Attention, superior officer on deck. Right. Is that what we should say?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, and we're also joined by Roland Mann, Chief Cat Wrangler here at Silverline.
He is. He's a master. If you need cats wrangled, he's your man.
Yep.
I am good at wrangling cats. That's for sure.
Yes.
People keep losing their cats in the neighborhood. He's that good. They just disappear.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, and my mother and father collect them.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But lest you think they put them inside, they do not. They have a gaggle of outside cats.
It's just like a herd of cats roaming
My
outside
mother-in-law
the house.
is allergic to cats, so she doesn't let them in. But there's one cat that comes around the neighborhood at her house, and my daughter has named that cat Grapes.
Grapes, nice.
That's funny. Why? No, my dad likes to keep them to catch the mice and the rats and the snakes and all that other kind of stuff. So
naturally,
yeah, because they live out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, well then that works.
So, and the funny thing is when someone gets a cat, what's it, Tom?
Yeah.
What's up, Tommy? Come hang out, Tommy. Come hang out a few minutes, man.
Tommy, you can join as well.
Yeah. When someone gets a cat that they don't want, they will take it to my parents' house and drop it off.
People used to my grandmother. It was dogs and cats. In fact, I think her dog Cleo was dropped like on a rainy night, literally a rainy night in a basket. Like somebody knocked on the door and opened it up, and there was Cleo, the dog, and she took it in. She just, like probably like your parents, they just know that if the cat needs a home, they just
drop it off. Yeah. Now, fortunately, they don't get any dogs dropped off, but cats. Yeah, my folks have had up to 11 cats at one point in time.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're all outside, right? So none of them come inside, but they hang out in the barn, and my dad's got a great big shed. He's got a barn, so yeah,
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they just hang out and catch. My dad feeds them, of course, right? But he's like, I don't feed them. He goes, I don't feed them too much. Why is that, Dad? Cause if I feed them too much, they won't catch any mice.
Right.
That's true. But they obviously stay because they get fed at all.
Yep.
That's why they stand.
So, and then he feels bad. And he says, he goes, yeah, I don't like them. I don't want these cats, right? But then he feels bad if like a coyote gets one. You know, they have coyotes out there, and he's like, yeah, I feel kind of bad because the coyote. And he got the one that I liked. Right.
Put a little sign up. I don't like this cat. Get this one.
Right. Yeah. Coyote, eat this one.
Eat this one, like little pictures of it. You know, it's funny. Before we came on, we were talking about the old comic Atari Force.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, dude.
Remember that? Yeah.
Hey, cool story, right? So in 2000 and oh crap, when did my daughter move out there? Let's see, 13, 14, 15, maybe 2015, I think, maybe 16. I can't remember exactly when. My daughter moved to California, and so we moved her out there. And DC had just fairly recently completed their move to Burbank. And so I wanted to go see the offices, and I still had a whole bunch of friends up there. So I hollered at my buddies and said, hey, I want the tour, right? So I got a tour. I got to see the DC archives, right? I mean, I'm talking about the thing behind this big, thick door that, like, you know, if an earthquake happens, the little box that's the archive just falls in place.
It falls in place, yeah.
And all these old comics stay there. From within the archives, though, he dug into he goes, hey, when we moved, we found these old books. And I got a copy of an Atari Force, but it was an ash can version.
Yeah, that's what I had. It wasn't an ash can. It was the one I had looked like a weekly Reader's Digest. Like, do you remember the old, like, smaller books that you would pick up?
Yeah.
It was in that format. It was the first one I'd ever seen like that. As far as like a comic, I'd never seen a miniature comic book, and I don't even remember where I got it. I think I must have bought it somewhere, but I remember I think I had a few things, but I remember it had Atari Force in it.
Well, I mean, you know, I remember Atari Force, but I didn't remember that one, and they gave me a copy. So
nice.
That's
nice of them.
It was very cool.
Yeah. So I didn't know there were two versions of Atari Force. The original version was very much like the Atari logo on their outfit.
The video game.
All matching uniforms. And then there was the Atari Force where it took like the main dude from that original, and then they gave him other characters like Dart and whatever that big purple dude is. And
there were two versions.
The DC's version of the 1980s Rocket.
I'll have to dig my copy out. From
you know, it's
somewhere.
funny. I remember when you brought up the media. I remember like most big movies that came out when I was growing up had a comic book tie-in. Like the old Michael Keaton one had like a premiere format comic tie-in. I'm actually trying to think of where that kind of stopped.
For that Batman.
Well,
go ahead.
I don't know if it like stopped as it shifted, because we, you know, definitely wasn't a thing like used by like art house films, but genre storytelling as we know it now was kind of the mainstream in the 80s. Like everyone saw Terminator and Demolition Man. But now it'd still be popular, but it falls into the genre niche. But stuff that falls into that hard genre niche is still doing it. One of the things that's on my list to get into later is actually as recently as the most recent Blade Runner, Marvel did a series of tie-in comics for it.
Did they really?
Yes.
No, did the comics expand upon the story, or were they just retelling of the movie?
They were prequels. It's Blade Runner 2019 and Blade Runner 2029. So it explains how Tyrell Corp got its developed since and got the mining contracts on Moon and Mars.
I know there was
stop that.
I know, no doubt, right? I know there were some other movies that had tie-in comics that tied in. Didn't the Matrix do that at one point? I know they had the Animatrix, but I think they had some comics too that tied in.
Yeah,
they had things.
They had little things that essentially filled in some of the gaps between each movie, because there's like years between, you know, Matrix 1 and Matrix 2 and 3. And so they had a few. I can't remember who put them out, but essentially they had some comics that explained the goings-ons of Zion and what the agents were doing during that downtime.
Okay, yeah, because I know there was been a few, but not. Did Star Wars ever do any like I'm trying to think. They've done tie-in comics before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think
But
recently, have they done any that have filled in gaps between the movies? I don't know.
In fact, the first Star Wars comics was an adaptation of the first film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard Chaykin was the artist for I want to say it was 6 issues. And then, but the thing about it is, then the series continued.
Yeah.
Right. So, which clearly wasn't the movie, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the Star Wars comics canon, it was probably one of my favorite things from the old legacy material. But yeah, Star Wars did do tie-ins for the sequel trilogy. They had the Rise of Kylo Ren, which explains Kylo Ren's backstory and also a bit of Snoke, as well as what the Knights were.
It explained. Was it a bit of Snoke, what he is and whatnot, and then it talked about how Kylo Ren became Kylo Ren because Knights of Ren were named after Ren, who was like the lead dude of the Knights. Yeah,
and that Ren design was one of my favorite things I've seen in a while.
If you dudes want to geek out on Star Wars sometimes, we should get John Jackson Miller back and have him come talk with you guys. Because
I wasn't able to make the Wednesday one, but I heard is he a writer of Star Wars novels? Is that what he does?
He's a writer of Star Wars novels and of Star Wars comics.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't know that. Yeah, I saw him and I saw some Star Wars stuff, but I unfortunately was not familiar with who he was.
Yeah. He's one of the big Star Wars writers. Been writing that stuff for years. If I may, Tim.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We are running a I don't know if it's not really a competition or
it's like a sweepstakes giveaway.
Yeah, giveaway. There you go, giveaway. Because we are trying to get our YouTube channel subscriber number up. We're trying to get the YouTube subscriber number to 500. I'm fixing to go check. I'm not sure what it is right now. We got 243, so we have a ways to go.
But just think they're giving me away as a prize, so that's worth it right there, right?
That's
right,
something. That's for sure.
That's something, right?
He folds laundry.
He folds laundry. I'll sit and take up your space. I'll eat your food. Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win for everyone.
So if you don't already subscribe to our channel, it doesn't cost you anything, and you don't have to watch anything. Just go subscribe. And what that means is that you whenever you're on your browser and we go live, you'll get the little notification up there that says we're live. You don't get spammed with emails or anything like that. So go subscribe to our channel and help us get those numbers up.
But you're gonna want to watch anyway because we give amazing content and
this is true.
Ramble on magically.
Yeah, three weekly shows plus the occasional comics food show and additional stuff.
That's right. Yep.
And apparently people who don't subscribe with Jose makes people disappear. Now I'm not saying how.
I mean, I'm not saying I make them disappear, but it does coincide with each other.
I know.
It's like the whole Batman thing. You don't see me and Batman in the same room.
Right.
Not saying he's Batman, but
But draw your own conclusions, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I do have to also say that, guys, I had the opportunity to meet Jose in the flesh this past weekend.
Yes.
So
nice.
Yeah.
We weren't arrested.
That's right. Yeah. We had a fun time at the Infinity Toy and Comic Show in Kissimmee. Thank you so much, Louis, for inviting us there and taking good care of us. So it's a fun little show in Kissimmee. So
it was awesome.
Yep.
I have a convention coming up, Rose City Comic Con, September 9th. It's usually September 20th, but this year it's 2 weeks ahead. Good thing I would have missed that week completely. But apparently it's coming up here soon.
Yeah. I'm missing that. I'm missing this year's Rose City to go to Daytona Beach Comic Convention. So if you subscribe to YouTube, you could possibly see us if you get one of those free tickets that we're giving away.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And then you can see Tim get beat up.
What?
What?
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Where did that come from?
I mean, isn't that how it's gonna work?
I was prepared, and then you can see Tim, but then it's like then you see Tim get beat up. Wait, what? Is there something happening that
He
I'm
was talking about doing like a fighting or whatnot.
Oh, Fight Club, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. When they're
But
talking
dude,
about
right in
Curtis
front of
and
the
Brent,
Silverline
Dean.
table, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
so-
sure that's happening this year.
Yeah. Curtis can't make it, but Gene and I can get like a Fight Club going in the back room or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring your little kimonos, right? Whatever those things are called.
Well,
Your
I
G-
PJs.
It's called
I
a
did-
gi, right?
I think so, but yeah, I do kickboxing, so it's just short shorts and gloves. That's our go-to.
Oh, I'm not sure we want you to wear short shorts though.
Yeah. Show off them powerful thighs.
I can see Tim standing out in front of the tables, just wrangling people in, like physically. Bar comics, what? Stop it!
Pow, Bar Comics. Pow, Bar Comics.
I know.
Yes.
All of a sudden, security
Yeah.
comes in. It's gonna be
Yes.
great.
Yeah,
Great
Dean.
time.
Dean
We found
and
a bunch of unconscious people covered in Silverline comics. We don't know what happened.
but you're right though. Dean and Brent both are martial artists.
Yeah, Dean is too.
Yes.
Yeah,
And Curtis, I heard
I
does
just
some
said
sort of
Dean.
stupid thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I said Dean
Well,
too, yeah.
yeah. Well, Curtis is the master.
I said
Yes.
Curtis
Yes.
is a ninja, dude.
He's
Like,
he's
you
the
say
he's the
that,
teacher.
Yes.
He'll punch you through the monitor.
Yeah.
He will.
It's like, man, Curtis ain't.
I'm just waiting for somebody to say Curtis and just like watch Curtis like rise up slowly behind Jose or something.
I know, right?
You spoke of me. Shit. Sorry, my bad.
You need to get You need to get a background now, so you
Yeah.
just
Yes.
boop, Curtis pops up there.
Yeah. Oh man.
Put that on the list, Tim.
Can do. It's actually digital backgrounds are fairly easy in this, so
Yes, they are.
yeah. All right. Well, speaking of martial arts, perhaps a tie-in comic that is really out of left field, but that we also have. Well, one of us has personal experience with. Well, one has someone who is associated with the creators. I as a reader, but back in the day, Malibu Comics did a non-canon Mortal Kombat tie-in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that at all? Have you read it?
Barely. I remember Baraka and Melina had some. Melina's storyline is fun. Baraka's, I think I got lost on, but I can't remember much beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Malibu did those for a while.
So interesting story behind that. So first there was a Street Fighter, right?
Mhm.
And Malibu
Yeah.
did a Street Fighter, and then I don't remember the exact story. Now I never worked with any. I never worked as an editor on any of the licensed properties.
Sure.
But I remember something happened where the Street Fighter people got pissed,
Huh.
and we had to halt production. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say, did Dean draw a Street Fighter thing? I can't remember. Dean might have drawn a cover for Street Fighter.
I'll put Dean's
I can see that.
Comicifying.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so that was first, right? But then the Street Fighter people got, but I don't know, and I don't remember why. I remember, it's what when you're in the office, you hear these things, and you're like, oh,
Right.
and you get the story, and then it goes in one ear and out the other. You're like, okay, I've learned the information. I don't need it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But then and then we did Mortal Kombat, and we did a pretty long run of Mortal Kombat and one shots and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat was, I know, I don't know if there's any new Mortal Kombat. I remember the Mortal Kombat Malibu comics. I think I got some of them here and there. But I do remember old Street Fighter comics. I wonder if that was you. Because I know eventually Udon took over Street Fighter, and they've been doing that for, 10 years, maybe more. And but Udon's more of an art house than a comic company, as far as I know. So.
Right.
No, this is Don Hillsman. Jeff Whiting, covered by Don Hillsman. I may be thinking wrong here. Don Hillsman and Jeff Whiting.
No, I know Dean.
Oh, wait a minute. Dean, just got it. No, that also says Don Hillsman. That really looks like a Dean cover, though.
Now you create the conspiracy theory that Don Hillsman is actually Dean Sachary's alternate identity.
That is not the case. That is not the case. Don Hillsman, he is his own person.
We're just saying you never see Dean
But
and
have we seen
Zachary
Don
in
and
the
Dean
same room. And Donkey
Yeah, so maybe the reason I'm thinking of this is because there's a Street Fighter that has Ferret in it, and Dean drew Ferret. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. How long
That may
did
be
Dean
what I
draw
was thinking.
Ferret for?
He drew all of them. So the Ferret had a one shot, and then because it did well, then we launched a regular series. He did not draw the one shot. That was,
but he did the rest of it.
He did the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember there was another artist that did Ferret or something. I think you talked
Thomas
about
Derenick.
Okay, maybe that. Yeah.
Who went on to do all kinds of great things at DC, even still today. I think he's still getting.
Was the Ferret part of the Ultraverse? Was he
No.
in that? Okay, so I couldn't remember if he was or not.
No.
So I know
the Ferret's the one. So the number one for the series is the one that had the fully die cut cover. It was the first. So I've worked as an editor. I've worked on two firsts, right? So the very first comic to have a hole drilled all the way through it, I was the editor for that, and that was Protectors number 5. It's just called the Bullet Hole comic, okay? Mm-hmm. And Protectors number 5, the cover has Amazing Man, and he's been shot right there, and literally we drilled a hole all the way through the comic right there in the middle of his chest. I mean, I'm gonna dig up these images and show you. And then the next one was the fully die cut cover. The entire issue was die cut. Now it was pretty cool what Dean did for this one, right? So Dean drew the cover, and then he created a template, right? Because it was kind of cut along the sides, and he created a template and then just flipped it for the odd, even pages, right?
Ah, interesting.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
I remember Marvel doing the die cut covers. There was a Wolverine one, I think.
Wolverine with the claws.
Yeah,
we did it first.
You did.
What thing? I may have seen the Ferret cover. If it, nope. I'm not sure.
So it's his head, right? Like it's the Ferret's head.
Yeah. The die cut is.
Yeah.
Is that Mackenzie? What's up?
We now are joined by Mackenzie.
The Queen.
Queen Mackenzie. Hello, my royal subjects. Minus Roland.
Minus Roland.
I'm digging up comic covers here. I Ferret 1, and I get all these like fuzzy ferrets.
Yes.
Well, Jose apparently just noticed that you have a picture of you and Hayden in the intro images.
I wondered how long it would take y'all to notice that.
I noticed that right away.
I really did not even. I don't know why. I was like, oh, it's not my name up there. I don't want to see my face. I'll turn away. It's Mackenzie's name. Like, I don't know. But I just noticed. And I started laughing. Like, as soon as it popped up, I just busted up laughing. I'm so glad, like, during the intro, you guys can't see our faces because I'm sitting there rolling.
It's funny, too, because Hayden Christensen, whatever photo that is, he has this very sort of, like, why are you touching me look. Like, he has an odd look on his face.
I photoshopped that together just for Mackenzie. Mackenzie still hasn't seen it, have you?
No.
Yeah. You haven't?
It's been there for probably 6 weeks or more.
Yeah. I see it all the time.
Oh, really?
I thought that was like, I thought you didn't know this, Mackenzie? He has a picture of you and Hank.
No.
It's awesome.
I've been on the show.
Oh,
The
man.
only show I missed was last week because I had COVID.
Yeah, he'd have to play the intro, or if Roland wants to find the image, I'm sure he has it. I think I remember.
So you can see this cover. You see the entire thing is die cut, right? All around the edges.
Okay.
Right? The entire comic is this way. Now, this is one of those you can find in the cheap boxes. Now, here is, whoops, that's the wrong one. Here is the Protectors issue.
And that hole goes all the way through?
That you see that right there?
Yeah.
That hole goes all the way through the issue. Literally they just drilled straight through the center of the issue. Yeah. It was a pain in my butt.
No, did you have to wait? Did you have to do that yourself? You didn't have to drill it yourself. It was done at the printer, right?
No. Okay. The printer did all that, but we had to figure out where the hole was going to go.
Yeah.
On every single page. You talk about a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, but this is a cool looking cover because you can also find in embossed versions of it. So you can feel his hands are ridged and everything like that. So,
I kind of miss. They don't really do. They do those a little bit, but there was something about the '90s cover gimmicks that people complained. I don't know. Some of them I thought were pretty cool. I remember Rob Liefeld had one called Blood Strike. You can rub the blood. I remember it was called like Rub the Blood, and it was. I mean, okay, whatever. But I mean, the fact that he went through the process, you can rub it and it disappears and it comes back. I'm like, wait, that's kind of cool. in a
Is
weird
that
way.
like
That's
one of
kinda
those
cool.
moves that you put your hand over it?
Yeah, I think it was like a
Okay.
heat sensitive thing or something.
Yeah.
But I remember Image
Well,
was the. Yeah.
I haven't told y'all yet, but we're getting ready to next year. We're working on a horror special in which all of us are donating blood for the red ink.
Mm.
Really?
No,
No,
But I'm just thinking. I'm thinking if you want my blood, you just cut my head off. You just.
don't. Is that an invitation?
No, Roland, it's not.
Listen, you'd look a lot
right?
better if you did that. Just trim off a little bit.
wow.
Ouch.
Just a little off the sides.
All right.
Yeah.
You don't really need a head. You look so much better without it. Just my lifeless body sitting on screen.
So y'all don't remember when Kiss did that?
Listen, I
Yeah,
enjoy
I guess since they had the
these-
Kiss
these
comic,
things
yeah.
better if
Yeah.
you were headless.
What was that, Queen?
I said I'd enjoy these more if you were just like headless. If it was just
Yeah,
neck down.
just sitting there, did it like just in my chair.
Man.
Aaron doesn't talk a lot anymore. He smells, but he doesn't talk a lot.
Every so often you see like a blood spurt, but that's about
Right.
it. That's all he does.
Yes.
That's how I respond. What do you think, Aaron? Okay, Aaron agrees.
Oh god, did anyone see? Has anyone else seen Bullet Train?
No,
No,
actually,
but I want
actually
to.
Curious,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
good, and it has the best arterial spray I've seen in a movie.
That's funny.
Just the full like fountain out the side.
Now, Tim, I gotta ask you,
Yes.
what in the world? How in the world did you think of Mortal Kombat?
Oh, it was. We were just talking about martial arts and had to bring it back on the subject somehow.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I was just because I would think, I'm guessing that's probably the comic is probably a little bit before your time, right?
Just a little bit, yeah.
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 So I guess I'm just kind of curious how in the world you knew Mortal Kombat as a comic. You seen them in the cheap boxes?
It was immortal.
Yes. I've seen them around, but then also just you end up either inheriting stuff from your parents, or you just end up like finding random stuff just gets added to your collection. And then you're like, why is this in my pile?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So did I send you one? Maybe.
No, I don't think you did.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you can find those. You can find those in the cheap boxes.
Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
A lot of those, even those like the ferret. You can still find a lot of. I found like an entire run. And I keep telling myself one of these days I'm going to buy them and then just bring them to Dean and hey Dean, will you sign all these?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of that stuff you can still find in the in the cheap boxes. So.
Yeah, we have a couple bookstores over here that also get comics and graphic novels in, but they also have your traditional like magazines and zines. So their cheap boxes are like a catch-all. So some like going through them, I ended up finding like a copy of like the old like Pine County skateboarder zine, like the the Steel Devil out in like Carolina.
That's funny.
There's a comic shop I hear that sells the magazines. I think, like you said, like the magazines, and they have like a bunch of the Conan magazines and heavy metal. And they have a few of those old Marvel graphic novels, like there's a barbarian one about a barbarian lady written by Chris Claremont.
In the cheap boxes?
Well, it was $10. They were like in these kind of, but I mean, still $10. I mean, that's pretty good for considering how old that. But I mean, the artwork is, I think it was not Beaumont. He was a painter. He would paint comics. Anyway, I'd have to look it up. I never heard of it before, and I was like, "Oh, this looks really cool," and so I grabbed it. That and
I literally
Starstruck.
just got this from my local shop.
Nice.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, those are all nice and hand painted.
Oh yeah, like it was hand. I mean, you can tell like in there, it's brushwork and crow quills. You know what I mean?
remember Vampirella. I remember as a kid just being kind of like, "What is this?" I remember looking inside, and that was one of the first hand painted comics I'd ever seen. I'd never seen anything anything like it. I was like, wow, this is really, really cool.
Yeah, but Belmont style is one of those things that makes you want to get like a panel van and airbrush a wizard on the side.
Yeah.
I assume you were already in that. That was in your works already.
It's something I'm already working towards. But every time I see a Belmont comic, I'm like, man, I should like really make some progress on that.
A panel van.
Kidnapper
van.
That's the thing. It's like if it's unadorned, you stay away from those vans. If there's a wizard on the side, you know the person probably has like free Led Zeppelin CDs for you.
Right.
Well, no, I was gonna say you could have like free candy.
First one's free, kid.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't say that to my kids. They'll think it's real.
Ugh.
It's like I told you not to go after the free candy van. Like, what are you doing? It's like, but it says free candy.
It says free candy. What do you want me to do? I saw a meme of like it was a van and it had like free candy, but it was like on duct tape on the side, and on the bottom it says, "I don't know what the problem is. This looks legit." I mean, you know. So.
I saw someone posted something. It was a similar meme, but the side of the van said "free Snap-on tools" instead, and it's just a bunch of like 30-year-old dudes trying to climb in.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
All right. So anyway, we're talking about comics as tie-ins. So there's been a bunch of examples of these. Very popular like back in the 90s when everyone was throwing money at comics. But even now, there's still things that happen. Like we mentioned in our title, Fortnite and Cyberpunk did them. Blade Runner did one. Probably one of the most successful was Boom's tie-in for Firefly. Because they're promoting Serenity, and then it ended up turning into its own like 2-year or 12-year run. A little longer.
I thought that was Dark Horse, or was it Boom? Did Boom?
It was published by Dark Horse, and Boom took it over in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I remember being through Dark Horse. Okay.
Yeah. And also with the Vampire Slayer got continued in comics once the show was canceled. So kind of.
I think it was a season 8, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kept going seasons in the comic. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they have more than the one season?
I believe
they went
did
in the comic.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And also, speaking of Boom, looks like Boom also has been doing it since 2019 as well. So they got picked back up in 2019, and there's been more Buffy since then.
Yeah.
Huh. So, and then of course you also have tie-ins talking about the Blood comic with Kiss, where it's not necessarily a continuation or an expansion of story. It's there as a promotional material.
Mm.
My favorite tie-in being Combo Man.
What?
The Marvel
Combo
character
Man.
who, when he ate a combo, became a combination of every Marvel superhero.
Oh, I think I heard of this guy.
I have never heard of this.
And it is the most...
Yeah.
Let me grab this. It's the most absurd. It's not even like its powers. It's like, no, it's specific anatomy of these characters. Because let me see if I can find the specific body parts that he inherits when he eats a combo.
It's the Hulk.
What kind of combo? Like a McDonald's combo?
No, like the combo snack.
Combos.
Yeah, like the snacks you get at gas stations.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like,
I don't know what that
didn't
is.
they do something? Yeah, with when you said combo, I remember some guy eating like food. Yeah.
Yeah. So Combos, the gas station snack, reached out to Marvel in the 90s, like, hey, we want to like just essentially do a one shot as an ad, and Marvel, of course, like, yes, but we're making it as ridiculous as possible. So when this kid Rick Wilder ate a Combos snack, he gained the superpower of every major Marvel character and their anatomy. He gained Hulk's forehead, Cyclops' eyes, Iron Man's jaw, Magneto's shoulders, Punisher's upper chest, Captain America's lower chest, Sabretooth's abs and biceps, Carnage's elbows, Daredevil's forearms, Spider-Man's hands, Sentry's thighs.
Yeah, I remember he was just
Kid Butcher's knees, Silver Surfer's calves, and Gambit's feet.
That's nuts.
That
I've
was
never heard of that.
greatness at its best.
I've never even heard of the combo.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's a staple of every road trip I've been on.
The staple of every gamer ever.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that
What do you mean they're not good?
I mean, it's just like deep fried pretzel with like pepperoni paste.
The pizza cracker
Listen,
one is
I'm on the
only
road
good
a
one.
lot, and they're like my go-to.
I say they're a
Like,
staple. They're a staple. I will absolutely every time I'm driving more than like 30 miles, I will pick up like 10 bags of combos. But I still acknowledge that it's not great. It's not
right.
Well, it's kind of like the Twinkies, right? Twinkies really aren't good.
Yeah, they're not good. It's the thing you do.
Yeah, it's just you eat one. I you know what? I've never heard of a combo. I'm gonna
maybe
have to
I
look for
lied to
one.
myself because I eat them so much. Maybe that's why.
Yes.
Lying to yourself, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, these are fantastic. I'm gonna keep eating.
Yes.
I just went over the guy had to draw combo man.
It definitely. Yeah, no. That should be. That's the next Silverline like talent competition. Hey kids, want to draw Silverline? Draw a combo.
Listen, you know, when in the 90s was this? Do you remember? Late 90s or early 90s?
I was still in high school.
1996.
So okay,
no, I wasn't.
Marvel declared bankruptcy in 96. So Marvel was probably looking for any possible way to make money.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I believe that
would have been my guess.
Yes, probably. Combo drew out to them like, hey, we'll pay for an ad, and they're like, yes, we have an artist who is on something or has given up on life. Either way, they're willing to do whatever they want. Or they're just weird like me, because I would drop anything to work on the Combo Man storyline.
I'm sitting here thinking the exact same thing. If they reached out to Silverline and said, "Hey, you guys, we want you to do a comic book. Is there money involved?" Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, perfect.
Right? Is there combos involved?
Right, the combos involved.
We'll pay our artists extra.
Can we get a free lifetime supply for Tim?
Yes. Yeah,
Tim. They actually
listen. Then you're affiliated with Pennsylvania Dinosaurs, and you hook up my crew because I'm telling you, I go through those combos.
They actually, I looked up Combo Man in Google. Somebody made a custom Combo Man action figure.
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
I don't know if I can show it here, but just look up Combo Man. It was down there. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
So
was...
if you kickstart Wolf Hunter issue 2,
yeah.
You'll be directly financing my Combo Man action figure.
That's right.
Tim, you could do like a little model.
Yes.
Yeah, you can like 3D print those models and stuff.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that I've given my 2 cents on why I think comic tie-ins are fantastic, and the best example of a comic tie-in is advertisement. I'll open up the floor and get some of your all opinions on do you like comic tie-ins? Do you like them as ads or just as like continuations of existing storylines? Do you have anyone that like really sticks in your mind as being really well done or really poorly done? Anything like that?
To get away from Tim sitting there dreaming about combos, I know that DC did. Was it DC? I think I think it was DC had a thing with Snickers, so they would put an advertisement, a page of sequential art advertisement in the comic books, where like Wonder Woman was, or it was like Doomsday running around like breaking stuff and whatnot, and then they shove a Snickers into his mouth, and all of a sudden you realize it was Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Like you get real cranky when you're hungry. It's basically like the principle.
Yeah, like those ads.
I'm a man.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've seen him before. I've seen Combo Man.
That is nuts.
That's really when comics speak.
Comics speak.
The fact is, they couldn't even think of a new character. They just had to go, okay, we're cutting everybody at here, smashing them together.
It was the combination.
Oh my
That
god!
is so disturbing. Tim, you're ruining comics for the rest of us.
Yeah.
They didn't even try to merge them. Like there is sheer lines across this man.
Exactly. Yeah. No, like I explained, like he has the upper chest of Punisher and the lower chest of Captain America, and then he has someone else's abs. So that means he just has Captain America's nipples.
Nipples of patriotism, right?
That's right.
Those America's nipples.
American
I'm
nipples.
never going to be able to combat again.
Nipples of freedom.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we've coined the term "nipples of freedom," that's a Silverline copyright.
No one can use that.
Yeah, we got Jose's take on the Snickers tie-in with DC. What are some other guys do? Like, not necessarily just advertisement tie-ins, but also storyline tie-ins, like Dean Zachary and the Deep Space Nine of course, as well as some other stuff. Yeah.
You mean, do we have any favorite tie-ins or whatever? Is that
what any favorite tie-ins? Anything that you did you like in particular? Do you like them as advertisements at all, or do you think that it leads the medium?
No, I actually like them. I did like the old. I remember as a kid, I liked
comics are known for that, though.
Yeah. The Batman for the Tim Burton's Batman comic. I remember liking that a lot.
Speaking of nipples,
like a format and stuff. Yeah. Well, not. I don't think in that one. That was Val Kilmer. Yeah, but I do remember it came in like in a prestige format. It was all glossy and nice, and I remember that was pretty cool. I did like the comic books and the He-Man action figures. If that's a weird segue, I mean,
that works.
Yeah. Those were like not at all lined up with, like, say, the cartoon. I grew up on the cartoon. I didn't even realize there was an entirely separate whole He-Man thing. I don't even think he was called He-Man when the artwork was made and when he just called like the Barbarian or something like that.
Yeah, and he turned into like He-Man because I think it was supposed to be based off of Conan the Barbarian toy line. Yeah. And then they saw Conan, it's like, we can't sell this as a toy line. And so they did something different.
Yeah. So. I think that's also like that falls into like the whole like weird niche of something that exists both as a comic tie-in and as like where the tie-in was made exclusively to promote something, as so it was strictly advertisement, but they spent so much effort on it that it became its own thing.
Right.
Like Bionicles was that way. Like, we need to sell this Lego line. Well, we just like roll up a comic in each tube, and then like, well, these comics are actually doing better than the toys.
Yeah, that's how. I remember they had a pretty good toy. Pretty good. I never read it, but I remember people saying the Bionicles storyline was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really good. Sectars. And
yeah.
Sectars. Yeah. I think for me, I didn't buy the Star Wars comics. Well, that's not true. I bought the first ones because, but I didn't read them beyond that. I haven't really read a whole lot of tie-ins like that, except for some of the Planet of the Apes stuff.
Okay.
And I'm a big Planet of the Apes fan, so I guess that's where my attraction is. But I'm not a big fan of. I shouldn't say this because I've scripted some. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of adaptations because it's kind of like, why would I buy your comic adaptation when I can see the movie?
Right.
Yeah.
I do like, though, like what they did with Buffy. Is that okay? The Buffy series ended, so they said, all right, well, let's just continue the story, but let's continue in a comic format.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool.
I really like this one. That's. I mean, like Mackenzie, like my main big fandom is, besides the X-Men, Star Wars. So when I also did not really get into the direct adaptation issues, but when Dark Horse did the continuations, like Crimson Empire, Dark Empire, and
Crimson Empire is amazing,
and Legacy, which in my mind is still the canon sequel series.
Legacy,
because that's all new stuff, right?
Was that Dark Horse that did that? Legacy?
I can't remember if that's Dark Horse or if I think it's been picked up it's transferred into Marvel's ownership, but I want to say it was put out by Dark Horse at the time.
Okay,
I think it was Dark Horse,
I know Dark Horse did Dark Empire.
Yeah, because Dark Horse had this rights forever.
One of my favorites.
Because I don't think Dark Horse stopped producing Star Wars comics until Disney acquired the license, and then went defaulted to Marvel. Right. So I believe Dark Horse. I'm having trouble pronouncing the name, but I live like 50 miles away from their headquarters, so I feel like I should be able to have it off the back of my head.
Say Black Pony, maybe that will help you.
Black Pony. Yes. So when Dark Horse, Yes, I think Dark Horse did Legacy, and that's still one of my favorite Star Wars storylines, going into explaining like the continuation of like the far future of Star Wars canon, tying into like some ancient stuff and getting Darth Krayt in there.
Darth Krayt, yes,
so good, yeah.
Well, Dark Horse made.
That's when it was about storylines and not money making. Now it's like they just do what they can.
Don't kid yourself. It's always about making money.
Yes.
Well, I know, but like literally Dark Shadows, when that came out, like they wrote me in with Darth Vader, but like that had no point whatsoever.
Because trust me, if it didn't make money, they ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's like, let's just throw this character in.
Yeah. They made most of the living off of licensed characters. Dark Horse, that was
and there's we've actually kicked that around just a little bit, to be honest with you guys, is that if you look at some of these publishers that they got their start in the 1980s, late 80s, part of what they did was they did adaptations. Obviously Dark Horse built themselves on Aliens and Predator.
It's so good.
And even if you look back at Malibu, now Malibu had a lot of people don't remember it, but Malibu had a deal with Full Moon Entertainment, and they did things like Trancers. They did Doll Man. I mean, it was.
Wasn't that did Full Moon do Puppet Master?
Puppet Master, that's another one. Yep. And so Malibu had a deal with them, and that's part of what helped build Malibu, because it's like, okay, cool. They sell a Cat and Mouse by Roland Mann and Mitch Bird. Who cares? Nobody knows. But Puppet Master, cool, right? It doesn't even matter who does the book, right? Because it's a recognized property. So there's something to be said about. Well, and look at what Boom has done.
Yeah,
you mentioned that Boom did. What was the one with Denzel Washington?
Was that Man on Fire? No.
Are you talking about the one where he's in the future and he's blind?
Guns. No. 2 guns. 6 guns. Crap. What's the name of that?
Well, they also did, and they've been doing interesting stuff. Like they've been doing like Berserker, which is an original property tied to a celebrity, Keanu Reeves.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's also
which
that's
also
a different take.
Keanu Reeves has writing chops.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I look at that. That's clearly Denzel. I got Denzel up here.
Oh, I remember that movie, 2 Guns.
Yeah, that was a Boom. That was a Boom thing. That's clearly, let's make this comic book because we're going to put Keanu Reeves in the lead role.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's written for him.
Yeah.
And
I definitely think everyone does something, produces something. One to be heard and to make money off of it,
right?
And I definitely think there's a way you can go about it right, in which you're creating an actual value for it, which I think is what made like why a lot of us have like fond memory of like 90s Dark Horses. It seemed like those people were nerds about the same things we were nerds about.
Right.
So it wasn't doing a strict adaptation, and it wasn't just, well, I read the wiki, so I'm going to do a cash in.
Right.
It was like It was, I'm going to write my fan fiction, and then it's going to be edited to a point where it's digestible. And we're like, yes, give me more content about the thing I love. And I forgot who it was, one of my professors, saying that fan fiction is just how it gets started in licensed properties. Fan fiction is just extended universe without an editor.
Now, do you think comic book tie-ins are as profitable or lucrative? I mean, in other words, back when they had them, comic books are still a viable medium, but now with digital stuff, because I don't see it, like I said, I don't see a lot of movies, and I don't see a lot of other things do comic tie-ins, so I don't know if they're just not profitable, but then again, I don't see a lot of movies making video games off their movies like they used to too.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe that's just not even a viable thing anymore.
Well, it still happens, but I just don't know if there's enough to warrant marketing money thrown at it. So if you care about the property, you're going to hunt down the stuff for it. But they're not going to invest in the marketing for it. It's like, being a Blade Runner fan, I'll pick up the Blade Runner comics, but I can't imagine that they like mass promote that, because not everyone is interested in seeing the prologue, the prequel to Blade Runner. Yeah.
Well, I always
Blade Runner's a bit of a cult classic anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not like a blockbuster like
Mhm.
Star Wars, you know.
Well, I was always amazed that, and I've heard some people talk about this with Marvel, like they found it doesn't translate. The Marvel fans of the movies, the general goes, don't translate in the comics. But then again, I never saw Marvel make like a specific MCU comic universe.
Right.
Like, because a lot of times they'll come find like I've heard people talk about this, like, oh, we saw the Avengers movie, and they go find the Avengers comic, and then it's completely different characters, and like, well, what is
Yeah.
this? Well, I don't want this. And if they just made like a regular MCU Marvel comic that would tie into the Marvel universe, and they can read that, and then once they read that, then they go, oh, I'll check out the other Avengers titles.
Right.
Like, get that comic to hook them, then they go
Yeah.
to other places.
I
But
know,
they never do.
Yeah, I think. And they also have like a way to get around that too, because they already have the planetary naming convention, and they did give the MCU its own universe designation. I think it's like 9,000,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The MCU.
And I'm thinking, like, if they just drew, I mean, and I don't even think they even really had to look like the actors, as long as they generally had the same costumes and stuff. I'm thinking they could do, but I've always, it's a weird thing, because it's like a lot of them go like, well, if we make superhero movies, then they would come read the comics. It's like, well, yeah, but not if the comics will look anything like the movies. I mean, you have to have something there to look a little bit like the movies to hook them.
And that is a chief complaint by a lot of retailers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, you know, you brought some new people in because of this movie, but when they went to look for, you know, the comic, they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like the movie I just saw, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's because that story was like 5-10 years ago.
Right.
That's the thing, is like maybe if they did like an alternate retelling of like the storylines that like were featured in movies, like, or even do like a new packaging for like, hey, if you liked Infinity War, see how it was the first time, and you got like a collector's bundle or hardback or something.
And that would be a great idea, I think.
When Watchmen, the movie, came out, I think there was a spike in the sales of that graphic novel for a short time. I think,
and then people got to the end and freaked out.
Yeah, because it ended different. Yeah. I mean, the thing was, the movie did look like the comic for all intents and purposes, and I think that they could recognize it. Yeah, I think there's one of the. Oh, go ahead.
I think there was definitely like an executive decision at the Marvel editing office with at least some of the way characters like were drawn. Is I don't know if anyone was reading like Iron Man before the movie started, but Iron Man at the time was big, kind of Dorito chest, had the stereotypical like jaw, then goatee, sometimes a beard, and then after that, they're like, we're just going to draw him as Robert Downey Jr. now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the original Iron Man, he was kind of muscular in tone, and then they kind of drew him more like kind of like a skinnier dude, because that was kind of the interesting part of the movie, was Robert Downey Jr. is kind of this unassuming guy, but once he's in the armor, then he's like, that's what made him tough.
It was his brains that made him a hero.
Right.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. I've seen that done with other, comics, like Roland said, where a manga unfortunately does a really good job of this.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch the anime, it looks just like the comic, and a lot of times they don't finish the anime, and so when they don't finish it, it's like just picks up right off from the comic. So they go check out the comic. And it works. I mean, those two things really work in tandem in Japan, and you think, with the big as the movies are, they would have been like, okay, we need to make a comic that's like tied in directly to this, because they started doing like individual other stories. I mean, the thing I don't like, they probably don't care about comic sales, but they're doing a lot of TV series on the Disney Plus. I'm like, if you took a few comic books to tie between some episodes or other things, you would have people buying the completionists. Oh yeah, you'd have them hunting down those comics.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all we need to do is hook them to get them in, and then they can discover so much more comics. It's that hook to get them in there.
Yeah, and it's also why like kind of reverse engineering this. So if comics detouring into traditional media and then coming back, there's always going to be some sort of loss on translation somewhere in that, like jumping back and forth, because you can't, if you this, even though, well, kind of the Obi-Wan series would have been a great comic. But there's some moments in there where when they translated that to film, it got very silly. Like chasing Leia through the woods was, but if you cut that with panels, no one cares. But taking that traditional media and then converting it into a comic, I think you're, as the creative, you're allowed to sort of jump like make a one-to-one transition and then expand on to whatever direction you want to go without conflicting media. I think that's why you end up getting, the fact that the Firefly series has been going on for like almost 20 years now as a comic.
Yeah.
And things like that. It says that it's able to buy that fandom immediately in, as opposed to having the fandom like having a hard time trying to buy into where the story continues.
Right. And they
have to be careful because that can backfire, because that's why they never made the sequel to Speed Racer.
Mm-hmm.
They went too literal.
I mean, there's always that sort of but I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think, does DC do a better job? Maybe. I don't know.
At what?
At like translate, like when they come in, they see Batman and Superman and the regular more in the comics, like in the Justice League.
Well, for DC, they do animated movies like really well. Regardless of like the Batman movies that have come out or Superman movies that come out. For me, if a DC animated movie comes out, I'm all over it. I want to watch.
Yeah, I like the animated movies.
Even when they change the storyline from the comic, even when they tweak it up and change it, it's still super entertaining. And then you don't have to be like constricted with we got to make it look like particular characters or the demeanor of the actor has to be portrayed into the character.
Right. The one thing that's really good about some of the animated movies, I know when they did some of the Batman Superman team up ones, they made them actually look like the artists a little bit, like Michael Turner and Ed I think it's Ed McGuire, and some of the other artists. Like I know they did a few they did the Justice League War, and they tried to make it look more like Jim Lee's part. So that kind of also ties in. And the one thing that's cool is you're seeing these movies and you're seeing comic art, which I think is kind of important. I mean, live action movies are cool, but it's really cool to see comic art animated on the screen because it is an art form.
Mm-hmm. I think also I think DC is their video game chops have been better than Marvel's recently because Marvel Avengers was a letdown. But with Injustice in particular, that was a great example of a multimedia project where it's very clearly they're like saying, okay, we're going to make a storyline that's told both in comics and video games, each one telling a different part of the chapter. And we're going
that was really smart to do that, because I remember you can get the game and then the comics. I remember reading a few of the comics and I thought this was kind of cool. It wasn't just a tie-in. I mean, it was like
you're getting a different experience each way, but
right. Because sometimes you can, and I think we've all known, like even in comics, where you read a tie-in or like Roland says, an adaptation, and it's a half-baked adaptation at best sometimes. You're just going through the motions to put something out there than really delving into it. So when they did something like Injustice, I mean, you really felt like these guys are invested in the story in their own in the comic, apart from the video game, that they really tied together, which you don't see a lot. Video games are horrible about that. I mean, every time they made a movie. The only one that I saw, they made a Wolverine video game based off one of the movies.
It had no reason being that good.
It had no reason being that good. And the game really didn't even follow the movie. It did its own thing, and it was great. And I was like, and so that was, but most of the time, I remember when they made the Matrix video game that tied into the movies, and I'm like, but the game wasn't any good. So that part of the movie, I guess I'll just never know what happens. I did look it up, but it was a minor tie-in how these characters got in. But animation movies, but if your video game is not very good and you make it part of like the actual main narrative, that might hurt you a little bit. So
I think Jose's birds are freaking out.
Are those your birds, Jose?
Yeah.
Wait, you have birds?
So I have 3 cats, right? One of them doesn't have a tail. That's my daughter's
Sylvester
cat.
and Tweety is what you have.
I know. I'm saying like
3 cats. I bought my wife a bird. So quick story. When we were in Pennsylvania, we would go, just because one of our things we like to do is go into the pet shop, right? She would always go to this cockatiel, and she would talk to it, whistle at it, and every time we left, she'd start crying.
Oh, no.
This happened for like 3 or 4 times, and finally I was like, I can't take it anymore. Like, I cannot take my wife crying when we walked out of the store. So she's sitting there talking to it, singing to it, like, you know what I mean? It was talking back to her. And the whole time I'm sticking stuff in the cart. I'm sticking a cage in the cart, like food, like all kinds of stuff. She's not realizing I'm doing this. And then I went to the sales clerk. I'm like, listen, you see that redheaded lady over there? the bird she's talking to, we're taking it home. You might as well pack it up now. And so I didn't tell her still. She's still talking to this bird. All of a sudden, the door in the back opens up, and the guy grabs a hold of the bird and like carefully sticks him into a box. She's just like, "What's going on? Like, what happened? Like, why is it going on?" She was so upset. And then she turned around and was like, "What are they doing?" I was like, "They're packing your bird."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "What?" It's like, "We're taking a bird home. This is your bird. Like, I can't handle you crying every time we leave."
You are a romantic.
I am.
And now she cries all the time at home. She just
the
bird is there.
So then she went into the hospital, or then she went to Israel actually, and then she came back, and then she went to the hospital. And in the next span of 3 months, had 4 different surgeries: open heart surgery, appendectomy, a oblation, and a full hysterectomy afterwards, right? And so for like the longest time, she was away from the house. So me and my son were taking care of the bird. I'd let him out, playing around. So when the bird came home, it wasn't as friendly with her as it was beforehand, right? Because it got used to me and my son taking care of it.
Right.
Then fast forward, we moved back home to Florida, and we got another bird because the lady couldn't take care of it. But it was, by the time we got it, was so far gone, she passed away. And my wife's like, "I'm not getting any more birds." And then my daughter, my 11-year-old, well, she's 13 now, but my 11-year-old was like, "Listen, my teacher has these 2 birds and she can't take care of them anymore. And I already told her that you'll take them, Mom."
Oh no, that's funny.
She's like, "Okay." So we went and got them, and the lady was like, "Oh, they're never gonna mate. Like, they don't mate. Like, they just don't do anything. Like, I don't think nothing will ever happen." They did.
And now you got baby birds.
Now I have 7 birds.
Oh, holy crap!
Wow.
We've given away 2, I think, out of the 2 clutches that we've had. Yeah.
So you have very, very like nervous birds and prowling cats.
Well, we figured no. Actually, the cats do really well though. The only one that doesn't is our newest cat, who is no longer now officially a teenager, grown cat.
Your cat's a teenager.
But the 2 other ones, my 2 main cats are like mine and my son's. I mean, they're like 16, 17 years old. You know what I mean? They don't want to get up for anything. So like they don't care. The bird flies around, they're like, "Oh, bird." But the other one's like, "Ooh, bird." So, but we figured out which ones are females and which ones are males, and we separated them.
So you don't have any more birds. No more birds.
No, I don't want any more. That's enough.
Nope.
Can't get rid of.
Can you sell them? Is it the kind of bird you can sell?
But we're so picky about who we let have the birds.
Give them to your cats.
That's what I was thinking. Like each one
would be cheaper that way.
One of these days, I'm going to move them out of the house or to my neighbor's house and just make wings that night.
Don't do that. If I was your wife, I'd divorce you.
We've already slaughtered a chicken before in front of the kids. We did it in front of the kids so that they can experience. Like, listen, you're going to learn. Like, you have to learn how to do this. We also, we boiled and dipped it and defeathered it and whatnot. We made every single one of my kids. And for you viewers, I have 5 kids total, 4 that live with me, 1's an adult. So all 4 kids had to come and pull feathers off chicken. And by the way, we named that one Dinner. That was his name. Dinner. So we did it, got it prepared, got it in the freezer because you have to let it sit for a little while, and then we ate dinner. But they had to experience that. They hadn't experienced that before, and
that's great.
Make sure
at least it's not as bad as the old Norse tradition of giving the kid a pet boar, and then when they turn of age, okay, you have to slaughter your pet boar now.
No, they knew from the start. Like, oh, look, it's gonna get. We should give him a new name. Like, no, his name is Dinner.
Yeah,
his name is Dinner.
You're not gonna name him. You're not this bird is going to be eaten.
No touch.
We're gonna keep it in our lanai for a minute, and then the next day we took care of it. Like this is not gonna happen. Just no, but you're gonna kill it. I was like, I know it's gonna be delicious.
Yep.
Right.
That's why at my high school, I had country, we had ag, and they brought in these chickens, and they're like, "Oh, Mackenzie's the best with animals. Have her take care of them." There were 100 chickens, but it was a tradition at the end of the year to kill them all and have a chicken barbecue for the school or the class.
Nope, not me.
I was like, "Nope, I'm not doing it," because they're like, "Why? You're the best with them," and I was like, "Every single one will be coming home with me. There will now be barbecue."
Yeah. Barbecue is canceled.
Yeah.
In the movie Chicken Run, that's happening.
Yeah.
Before my
Right.
wife went to a midwifery school, she told me before. I remember a lot of like stuff, little details my wife tells me because that's just the guy I am. And
romantic.
she's like, oh, like I always told my dad I wanted a chicken. He never bought me one. Like the whole time I was young, he never wanted to buy me a chicken. And one year for Valentine's Day, we went and we picked out like 6 baby chicks so that
Oh
she
my
could like
goodness.
so she can raise up and like the problem was we named them.
Oh,
And we named them all
no.
like old-fashioned names, like Willetta and Bertha, and things like that. Like they all had like classy old-
Gertrude.
yeah,
Gertrude.
exactly. Like old hen names, you know what I mean? Because that's what you call older grandmas and whatnot, old hens and stuff. At least that's how it used to be back in the day. So that's what we did. We gave them names. We couldn't eat them.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah. So sorry.
That's funny. I would love to raise some chickens and have them for eggs and chicken.
Yeah.
If I could.
My wife wants a cow, and I'm like, we live in the city. Like in town. It's not a big town, but we're in town. You
Does she
can't
want
have
a milk cow or just
Yes.
a cow? Yeah.
She wants a milk cow.
Here's the problem with that. The problem with the milk cow. So my grandfather was a dairy farmer, right? The problem with the milk cow is there's no breaks. You
Yeah.
have to milk that cow every single day, twice a day.
I was gonna say more like twice a day at least.
Yep. So I think it's a good job that you talked her out of the cow.
Yes.
I still haven't.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
circumstance has hindered us getting a cow.
That's good. Maintain that circumstance. 'Cause
Right.
Like I said, it's a cool idea, but yeah, I wouldn't. That's just I wouldn't want to do that every single doggone.
I know.
Now, one of those kids is getting a doubled allowance.
I know. Heck yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now that we've learned that Jose's life is a tie-in of Dr. Dolittle,
Right.
Right.
yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts on comic book tie-ins?
Oh, I like how you did that. Nice.
I have one.
Sure.
My favorite one. I know you guys were going all through this, but like when I go antiquing, I'll get like older comics when I see them, and usually they're like in bags, so I don't see what they are. I'll just pay the $5-10
Mhm.
and take them away. And my favorite was I think it was in the 60s. There was this comic line, and I don't remember who made it. Because I literally went the other day and I bought like another thing, and it's just all of these. I didn't get any of the
yes.
romance
Conan?
ones.
Oh, the okay.
Yeah.
But
Did you say romance?
yeah, they were. So it's like a romance line, and it's.
Oh no, you don't. No, he doesn't.
It's rolling. He probably has it.
He
Oh
probably
my
does.
gosh.
No, that has a role. But like the ones that I got the last time, it's like promotion was, while your boyfriend's reading his or your husband's reading his comics, you can read this, and then there's coupons for ingredients in the back of the book, and then on the back there's a recipe. And
What?
they
Really?
partnered with like Betty Crocker or something.
Huh?
That was like my favorite of all
I put
time.
my ears back on. So, you mean like these, Mackenzie?
Yes. See?
Are there any
yes.
comics you don't
Of course
have?
he'd have
Rome?
them.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe, and then it was DC. That's what I was saying. Like, I
Yeah.
was like so blown away because I have a couple, and
So-
then the most recent ones that I got, like they had like recipes on the back and coupons, and it was all about like when you're done with your comic and your man's still reading his.
Can
like,
we get?
make him a pie?
We'll have to talk with Barbara about this one, but can we get coupons to Del Taco in the back of Silverline Comics?
Listen.
So the cool thing about
importantly-
these, right? So here's the cool thing for. And let me hit. I gotta delete that before. So here's the cool thing about comics like this. So these comics were done by famous comic artists. These are the same artists who 10 years later ended up drawing Spider-Man and Hulk and because in the 50s, right? This is what sold. Superheroes
Yeah.
didn't sell in the 50s. Like, let's see if I can figure out the years of this one.
That's what I said. Like a lot of mine
was
were like
was
late
the
50s, early
written
60s.
in Roman numerals?
Say again.
Was the indicia written in Roman characters?
So this is actually 1973 here.
Oh wow, that's a later one.
But I'm wondering if it's a reprint of something actually. But I'm trying to. But see the cool thing about it is you have to pick out these artists, because a lot of them didn't have credits.
Were they like short stories?
Yeah, they're just all little short stories. Let's see here. Let's see if there's any credits in this one. Let's see, this one's 74 also. Wow. But they're just so funny. I can't get him out of my mind. It was supposed to be a glamour trip, but it became a bad trip. Yeah. And look, look that, I mean, that look right there, that looks like Stanley right there.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I know that
the OG typography in there.
Buscema and Gene Colan, a lot of those guys drew comics. I'm trying to find credits, but I can't find any in here. But again, that's not an unusual thing for these romance comics, just because this was really kind of before all the comics. So all right, so this one's actually copyright 1968.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
this
a
is
reprint then, right?
Yeah, this is just a reprint. Yeah. And they did that a lot in these magazines because they would get a lot of mileage out of them. They would just print these things over and over. And Archie still does it today. If you go to their Walmart and buy Archie magazines, you're just buying reprint stuff.
I got that one too.
Yeah.
Which one? What do you got?
I picked up an Archie book.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Wow, cool.
Yep.
I don't know what this one was.
So is this stuff you're looking for, Mackenzie?
I know, right?
Oh, I just like when I go antiquing, I like the older ones more. So I'll buy like if I see them, I'll buy them. But like usually I'll buy like a mystery bag. And for whatever reason, I always get those romance ones.
I love the amount of like random stuff you find like in the we don't know what to do with this section of an antique store.
Right.
It's like one time I found the just hit and miss comics from like the X-Men Necrosha storyline and the Guild Wars discs. I'm like, what?
Do you know the weirdest thing that happened? I bought a mystery bag the other day. Like I was going for my mystery bag, and like as I picked it up, like someone had just threw like a bunch of 45 records underneath. Like, and I'm saying like 100 of them, like underneath the things. And I was like, "Are these for sale too?" And the girl's like, "Yeah, if they're here." So I just dug through those too. I was just like, "Man, this is a treasure trove."
And this was at an antique place?
Yeah.
Where were you at, Mackenzie?
I went to Lewisburg.
Okay.
It's called the Street of Shops. So like everybody just throws junk in corners. They call it drunk, but I call it treasures.
Right. There's this pretty big warehouse barn looking thing in Tannersville.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right behind the old right behind was it White Dragon Comics?
Yeah.
And you can go there, you can find all the classic cups and whatnot with like the superhero figures and stuff like that and the cartoon figures. And they had several chests that were already open. It was just comics in there. Man, my wife did 2 laps while I was walking around. I lied, cheated because I was just plain scared.
That's
like quality stuff. Like, the other one that got me laughing.
I'll send these to you, Mackenzie.
I love
that would be awesome. That's cool.
Mackenzie, I'll send these to you.
All right. I'm telling you, I'll treasure them.
Yeah.
They're gonna go in your stack.
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm telling you, every time I get those, they're just a good time. Like you can't be stressed out, and it's like, man, it's all drama, but it's also ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
It's so funny. Drama. I believe it or not, guys, I read those before putting them in my stack over there. I picked them up. I bought 80. Let's see. not at Kissimmee, but the week before I was at Sunrise. I bought 80 comics. I bought 80 comics for 25 cents a piece.
Nice.
So I spent $20, bought 80 comics. I came out a stack like this, and those were some of them. So
Oh my gosh.
they will be my gift to you, Mackenzie.
Oh well, thank you. I'll
Do you-
cherish them, especially since they're from you.
Do you read most of the comics you get from the cheap bins? Do you go through and just
I
read them
do.
all? You do?
I do,
Okay, yeah.
I read. Believe it or not, I read more of them than I do. Nobody's listening, right? The
Yeah.
Kickstarter books I support.
And the stream is cut.
So I do. You know,
Yeah.
I work hard to read the Kickstarter books as well. But man, I gotta be real careful saying this. Some of them just aren't very good.
Mhm.
And you know, sometimes I support them because they looked good, or because you know there may be people I know or something like this. Right?
Let me help you out, Rolly. Some of them are just not as good. Not you though. You, the guy that's watching us. No,
Right,
you're
that's right.
awesome.
No, you're right. That's absolutely you're right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, but you know, I'll give them a chance. The Kickstarter books, I'll start reading. But I tell you, there's some of them I'll back, and then I'll back a second one before I've read the first one, and then and then I'll read the first one. And I'll go, holy crap! Why did I back the second one? I can't get out of it now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I read more of the stuff that I buy in the cheap boxes than I do the other stuff. That's just good stuff.
Mhm.
I feel like you find the most random stuff sometimes. Like the one time I found a comic about a chocolate bunny, and like it became my favorite thing for like
A chocolate bunny.
A chocolate bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roland, did you just get up because you have that comic?
No, I don't have the chocolate bunny.
Oh.
But I mean,
Second.
look, here's the other thing I found in the
Kid Cole.
Shut up!
dude, 15 center. I mean, it's in crappy
Yeah.
shape, you know, but what the
doesn't
heck,
matter.
you know? And
I
it's
like
probably
so like for those older comics that I picked up at like swap meets or antique shops. You know what I mean? I love to just mentally deconstruct them.
Mhm.
How did they do their line work
Yeah.
for this? How did they
Yeah.
ink this? Like, is that a
Some of
brush
those
or is
cheap
that a
ones are
nib?
like,
Yeah.
So has
amazing.
anyone ever read Not Brand Ek?
I've never.
No, I've
read
never
that.
heard
of
Hey, hold that.
I-
Hold the corner box up.
Which one?
The
right
corner
there?
box.
Isn't that
Yeah,
that?
I know who that is. Yeah.
That's that. It's not too much. I know that. That was like a goofy superhero.
You talking about Forbish Man?
Yes.
Yeah, he had like a pan on his
Yeah.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, Pan. Yeah. Not Brand Ek is like kind of like it was kind of like Marvel's Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny.
Then he became
So
like,
good.
Just like was it Darren Ock used to do the little mini comic at the back of the comic books and whatnot. Yeah.
Check this. Agents of Shish,
Yes.
right? the X-Men, right?
The
The
Revengers.
Revengers.
I personally like the horse mural.
Yeah, but this is so funny, right? Good. So I had known what not Brand Ek was for a long time, but I never owned any. And I found these in the cheap boxes, and I'm like, okay, I have to buy these.
Nice.
And they're so funny. They're so good. They're doing stuff in here that they could not get away with today.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to read them just because we might get banned. But some of this stuff I'm reading, I'm like, oh my, that is so funny. You could not do this today.
Now I'm curious to see what they are.
Look at this Kang, though.
like the
Right?
comic
Check out this
version of
Kang.
Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
Right?
That's awesome.
Look how silly Kang looks, right?
I remember reading those. I've seen those comics in the store. I don't think I've read them, but I remember seeing stuff like that in the stores.
Who did
back
the
at Marvel.
art for that?
This would be Marie Severin, I think. Let me double check to make sure. Let's see. No, John Verputten did that one. I'm pretty sure Gene Colan drew some. These are little short stories as well. right? Oh,
Right.
They go like this. See, this is what kind of shape it's in. It's
Ooh.
falling apart,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But again, I gave a quarter for it, so I don't care.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like you're gonna use it to sell or anything. You just in it
I'm
for
not
the
slabbing
history.
this one.
Yeah, you just want to read it and check it out. Something that's
Yeah.
from that time era.
Marie Severin. I was always a fan of Marie Severin's work, right? Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Yeah, this
Oh
is
yeah,
Marie
I've seen
Severin
this
here.
stuff
Yeah,
before.
yeah. Of course, she was
expressions.
married. Yes, she was married, of course, to John Severin. And
That
then, of
one guy was
course,
like Popeye.
and then Gary Friedrich and Tom Sutton. So yeah, this is the Marvel stable of artists,
Yeah.
drawing this stuff. So funny. Anyway,
All right, we're coming up on time here. It's been about 90 minutes. This has been our show on comic book tie-ins and
Oh
everything
yeah,
in between.
Jose.
And,
She's got the crown. Nice.
Yes.
You gotta get one of those Burger King crowns, like the.
No, literally, I was trying to find it, but it's out in my dinosaur garage, and it's really raining because I have my episode 3 one with Hayden right in the front of it, and I'm filming with
Of course
that.
you do.
But I grabbed
Of course you do.
construction paper and made one quick.
Listen,
Perfect.
I actually considered I can't find a crown. I didn't think about grabbing one. What if I grab one of my daughter's tiaras?
That'll
You know
work.
that tiara I wore
That
the
close.
other day? I was
that
looking all
close.
over for it.
Yeah.
That's so
Hey,
I
good.
was
Just
looking
go to
and
Burger
I was
King.
like, I need something more
Yeah.
larger.
There you go. I just want to shout out again. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. We're trying to get up to 500 subscribers, and you have a chance of winning a free pair of tickets to or free 2-day ticket. Yes, to Daytona Beach Comic Convention, where we will be there. And
Or I like to refer to as Silverline Comic Con.
yes, you'll be in force, and I'll be doing Muay Thai demonstrations in the parking lot. We
I
also
can probably arrange that. Tim's like, oh, man, my big mouth.
Just start breaking people's ribs. I'm not ready for that lawsuit.
Just you wait till a dinosaur shows up.
There we go. Yes.
We're going to talk about 2023, Mackenzie.
Yes.
Okay.
We also
They're not
have.
going anywhere.
We also have a Kickstarter currently in the wings that you can go ahead and hit the follow button so you can get notified when it launches and get on those juicy exclusives before they get picked up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I guess our takeaway thought on comic tie-ins is we like them. They're fun. Just don't phone them in.
The cheesier, the better.
The cheesier, the better.
Yeah.
Marvel. I turned to Max Headroom again. Marvel, if you're not planning on using the name Combo Man, please send me the rights. I will get a 10-year story down here. All right. Okay, that has been our show. You can catch us at the socials below. And I don't think we have one for Roland in there, but Roland, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the interwebs at Roland Man or Man Roland on Twitter. Just look for the caricature with the smiley face.
Perfect.
Yep.
And like I said, our socials are below. But does anyone have anything new coming out?
I'm going to Rose City Comic Con September 9th. I'll be there. Beyond
yeah?
that, no.
Nice.
Not that I know.
I don't know, magical stuff.
Perfect. Jose will be doing up close magic at Daytona Beach.
Yeah, we're doing street magic out there.
I mean, we're gonna call it magic, right? What? But
It's just pickpocketing, yeah.
Maybe you can take that van.
Oh no, pickpocketing.
Someday I'll teach you guys the skills I've learned that my mom gets scared about.
Oh,
All
my
right.
goodness.
Well, this has been That's Silverline Show on Tuesday. You can catch us here 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday. You can also check back out this channel 8 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday and Sunday for Wednesday Wham and Silver Sunday for other crews. We'll see you next week. And until that time,
Make myself a line.
Make mine
Silverline.
Silverline.
That's a good show. Let's see there. Aaron, you got anything else?
Well, let me see.
Hi, my name is Sergio Cariello, and make mine Silverline.